All right.
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man. Shit,
Wow.
it's been a long time.
It's good to see you, man. Crack a
Yeah,
beer.
good to see you
It's
too, man.
been
Sure,
far
man.
too long.
A little bit of a white wine
Cheers, man.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers, man. Good to see you.
Mm.
Shit, it's been a long time, man. I was looking forward to it.
It's
And
been a long, long time, man. When you
shit,
started
man.
posting that Mobile was going to be back making new music, I was pretty fucking pumped. I got to be honest.
That's cool, man. Seriously, I never thought we would make another record, to be honest with you. And it's good. I mean, we took a few years off. As you know, we were friends for the longest time, so it's just the business got the best of us at some point, to be honest. It's just shit, man. When we had that first record that did really well,
Yeah.
then it was great. Then we toured, we did the Cornell thing, we did everything, the Juno, this and that. But the thing is, like, you know how it is, the industry. It's so nerve wracking, and also it's soul destroying in a way, because no matter how much success you got, whatever, it's just like you have no control over anything. And it came to a point where, man, I got older and the kids and this, and I was really unhappy with everything. It's like, fuck this, man. It didn't make me happy at all. I just realized that music all my life I thought was a lifesaver, right? When I was growing up, I was like, I want to, be a rock and roll star or whatever, do that music for a living and this and that. But in the end, I was like, man, this is destroying me. I was so unhappy. I didn't like it. So took a break, I went back to school, and I work for a fire department now. I work for fire. Yeah. So I turned my life around in a way. And then I quit music for a little bit. It was good, actually. I kind of stopped for a while, and everybody was like, you can't quit, dude, man. It's like, you got to keep singing. You got that voice. And
you got, I mean, your band is awesome. Like when you guys took the hiatus, or whatever the fuck it's called, like when you guys broke up or whatever it was.
Right.
Like I was like, what is going on, man? Like they're one of the best Canadian rock bands right now, man.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, you guys all been so supportive. You and Danger too. You guys were great. And going to CFOX, the best memories we have is going out west with you guys. It's great, because the thing is, you got to remember, like, being a French guy from Montreal, and the band too was a bit of a challenge for us back then to go out west and prove ourselves that we're not like just, because Mobile sometimes was seen as a pop band, pop rock, whatever. But I mean, we knew what we were doing, and we got respected, because of the hard work and whatever. And I always appreciated that. And, I'm always happy to see you and talk to you.
Yeah, man. You guys were always so awesome coming through the station and performing.
Yeah, the best of times with you guys.
Like, it's just so rad, right? So, okay, so what was it then, Matt? Like, what was it that got the ball rolling? And, like, was it you reaching out to the boys and, like, like, maybe we should, what are we doing, guys? We should probably get like, how did it happen?
Well, the thing is, to go back, is we broke up in like 2010, I think. And I walked away, actually, because we had a grant to do another record. We started writing, but I was just really unhappy with the band, and it was really tough because of the business. And we had multiple record deals, US deals that didn't turn out too good. At some point, man, it gets the best of you. It's just like, you go on tour, man, you come back home, it's grueling, and then you don't make enough money anymore, and the record company lets you down. So I decided to quit, and then I went solo. I did a solo project, and to be honest, I tried to do something a bit more pop, and I went on my own. And just to be honest, it was more to prove myself I could do something, outside of the band, even though I never saw myself as a solo artist, solo singer. I just did it because I had to prove myself I could. But it was really early in the process. Then I realized that I don't like it, so I quit. And then the guys, actually, because we've been friends for 35 years. I mean, even more now, 40 years, because we met when we were kids, like 5 years old. Yeah. So the thing, we've always been in touch. But we never talked about getting the band back together. And at some point, the guys were jamming, and they were like, Matt, you got to come back. And I didn't want to. It's just, because I got hurt so bad with this whole thing. Because you think about having a career and you worked all your life for that, and you live the best of times. Like, man, I mean, you tour, you sing with Chris Cornell. For me, it was like, oh my, those were the best days, you know, going to see you guys, going out west, touring Europe, this and that. It was amazing. I mean, playing festivals with the Strokes and James Brown, and it's a dream. And then you lose it, you know, and it's so hard to get back from that, because it's like nobody knows unless you've lived it, that it's like, you know, somebody's going to take it away from you. It's like, Todd, you can't do radio or podcast anymore. It's like, reinvent yourself. It's over, right? So for me, it was really tough, and for the guys too. So I was scared of going back to that. I didn't want to feel that anger and that disappointment towards the band and towards myself. If I go back, is it gonna make me feel shitty again? So I was like, so I hesitated for quite a while. And at some point, Frank, I think, convinced me. He's like, let's go, you know, I think we should get together. And I said, okay. And the thing is, I wanted to prove the guys that I still had something to offer. And Christian and I have worked on a song that's on this upcoming record. It's called Modern Lovers, way back in the days when we were doing the third record that never came out. And I worked on the tune by myself. I went to a studio. I got this engineer guy that I know, and I recorded the whole thing. So I showed up to the meeting with something in my pocket. I was like, all right. So also I felt like, because things didn't turn out too good when we broke up, obviously, I felt, you know, certain things that happened, and I was not comfortable about coming back. And I was like, personally, I was like, well, I felt like I had to prove myself and prove them that I was worth, you know, coming back to the band. Also that this is me now. And so I brought the song, right? I recorded the song. I brought it to them. So we had a meeting. It was great. And then I played them the tune. They were like, fuck, man. And they were like, well, this is amazing. This is great. And it kind of, everybody was pumped. And then I suggested, like, instead of getting back together now, we should put a show together to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Tomorrow Starts Today. It would be great. Just do one show, no pressure. We just play the tunes, you know, in Montreal. We do that, you know, no pressure. And then we'll see what it's like to rehearse and how I feel personally. Cause I was kind of like, I didn't want to go into a rehearsal anymore. I was like, man, just singing was like, oh. So then we did that. It was great, man. We started rehearsing. It was like, dude, man, we still have that thing, and it's still so powerful. And everybody had that. It's just that youthful energy that we still had. I mean, being older guys now, but still felt like shit, man. It's like when we were 16, same guys that we've known for forever. And then we played the show. It was amazing. Probably one of the best shows we ever played. And we haven't played together in 10 years. And we had an amazing reaction. People were like, oh my God, it's like you guys never missed a beat. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then when we finished that gig, we all went back our separate ways. And we all felt really down, because we were like, shit, dude, that was so cool. And we got to do this again, right? But also the thing is that we didn't want to come back and just do the old tunes. We had to come back and write some new music. And Christian and I, especially, we have that relationship where we had some tough years, you know, because we've known each other for so long. But now we have such a great relationship. You know, we became closer than ever. And then he played me some tunes, man. I was like, oh,
dude,
he had to be involved, right? It's just like, it's bigger than me. So that's how we finally got, you know, we started writing, and we were like, let's go, let's do it. And then we went at it, and it was great. It's a great process. A lot of fun doing it. No pressure, no record companies in the beginning. You know, and at some point we got involved with a manager because people were interested in us, and because I was really like, fuck this, I didn't want to be part of anything anymore. Of like, hey, you got to do this and that. I was like, man, I'm done. I got a job. I still love music, but I have a kid, and I'm happy. So I just didn't want to go back to music, being disappointed again, because that's a big part of being in the music industry. You know, no matter how good you are, it doesn't matter. You might get hit and disappointed because people have control over you, right?
Well, that segues nice into what I wanted to bring up. Knowing what you've known, like, I mean, like you say, like touring with Cornell and like playing these festivals, and like, just, you know, you're in the thick of it. You were part of, like, truly part of the fabric of rock radio in Canada for a huge chunk of time. So to take that, do you think that it's going to be easier for your band now to make it, or because it's such a different time now, it's been a decade.
Oh, it's
Like,
been a decade. Yeah.
so what's the talk in the camp for that? Like, is there, we're getting a radio tracker, we're gonna make the big tours, like
Right.
what's on the game plan for you guys?
Well, the thing is, like at the beginning, it's like it's truly what we didn't want to hear about. You know, to be honest, we were like, no, man. It's like we just let's write some tunes, see what's gonna come out, and see how we're gonna feel about it. And we didn't have any agenda or with the style, whatever. Because I think with mobile, obviously, the first record was more pop and more Cure and this and that, and the second record it was a little more dark, and I think we didn't succeed that much. But in the meantime, with this third record, I was like, I don't care I don't even know what's on the radio, and things have changed so much. I don't care because that's not how I discover artists. And also, I was like, man, I just want to make a cool record, and I want to be proud of, even though we don't sell any copies or we don't get any radio airplay. Obviously, it's disappointing, but I have like a full armor about like I don't care. Seriously, I'm super proud of this album. And obviously, then we got involved with a record company and manager, and he's been great. You know, the thing is, COVID hit, and then we had to stop for almost a year. So it was weird because we were on a roll for a while, and then Christian and myself, we would see each other every weekend. I'd go to his place. He's got a studio, so we would write and write and write. We wrote 60 songs, I think, right? And not all of them are good or they're completed, but I mean, we wrote a lot of stuff. And at some point, we're like, let's put on a record, just 10 songs. And we had to debate on what we're going to keep, just to make sure this is a really strong piece of work, right? And to make sure that we pleased ourselves, right? With this album, without having anybody involved, even our manager was like, guys, you know what you do, so do what you want, right? So we put those songs together without knowing, without having a clue on what's going on at radio. Because seriously, even rock radio, I mean, it's either you're super rock, like hard rock or heavy, or you're super pop. You know, the in between, when mobile used to sit, well, like out of my head, or those tunes were like Killers style or Strokes. It's like the in between. I don't know if it gets played on radio anymore. So we went at it just to please ourselves in a way, and hoping, for sure, I would be a liar if I'd say I hope we're not gonna have any radio. I hope we will. I don't know if we're gonna have any airplay, but I believe that the stuff we got is pretty good. So
oh yeah, you'll get airplay, dude. Yeah, that would surprise me if you didn't. So which were the bands like in your house as a kid growing up? What are you being exposed to? Like, what are your parents playing? What are you like kind of finding out on your own?
Well, I was always my house. My parents are always been really big fans of music, and my mom, she's an art teacher, so art was really prominent in the house, right? And we were really encouraged in playing an instrument or being artistic, or when I was really probably, I don't know, 7, 8, or 9 years old. I have an older sister. She was really into Duran Duran and the Police and all those bands. And my sister, she had her walls covered in posters, and she would play the music on the radio. I'd be like, who's that? And even though I'm French, obviously, and I didn't know anything about English, for some reason, my parents would play French music in the house. Sometimes too, they'd play Pink Floyd and stuff like that. We had a turntable, vinyls and stuff. Yep. But my sister, she was really into the 80s, like the Cure, the Call, the Smiths, and Duran Duran, and all those. And I thought they looked so cool. Yeah, I was like, man, those guys are like, totally. I want to be John Taylor.
Yeah, like, whoa, man, Simon Le Bon is like,
I mean, are you kidding? And Police, and I would hear every breath you take, or Save a Prayer, and those words, for some reason, it meant more than French. And then I really started being really interested in the English language, and I learned by myself, with the dictionary and listening to lyrics and translating. And my parents don't speak English. They were like, oh, how come you speak that good English? Yeah. And I was just fascinated by it, and I love the music and the style too. I thought it was better than what was going on in Quebec. I felt more connected to that. So then I moved on to more hard rock stuff, in the 80s, like Motley Crue and hard rock Poison, Skid Row, and Bon Jovi, and all that stuff. And then more into Aerosmith, The Cult, and the Sabbath, and then I started really being into the 70s, Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd, and all that stuff. And then Grudge happened, you know. And then, I mean, when that happened in '92, I was, 16, so it's just the best, you know. I looked exactly like Eddie Vedder, you know what I mean? It's just like that hits the spot. And then I heard Soundgarden, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam, and I'm a big fan of Screaming Trees and Lanigan, and I was really into listening to those bands and learning about what they what they were listening, what was their thing, because I was like, how come they sound like that? You know, it's very weird thing that they Soundgarden. What a dude! It's just, it's incredible. Like, where's that coming from? And then I started really into go to the bookstore and getting books and learn about, what bands we're listening to, the blues and the soul. And then I got really into, that band called the Afghan Wigs. They're my favorite band. They're really into soul. And then I'm really a super fan of soul music. And then I got really interested in learning about Supremes and Stax Records and all that stuff. So because I didn't want to be like a typical rock singer, I wanted to have something different to offer. And the soul thing always been super important for me, and so I think it's that's what happened. It's like now, even though, we're not getting any younger, but I feel like I can listen to myself on a record and be like, oh, all right, that's all. I'm sounding okay. I'm sounding good. Because before it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just nowadays, like, I played the record for my wife, so she had. The thing is, like, I hate playing songs when they're not finished. So I told my wife, was like, I gotta wait, So just 2 weeks ago, we listened to the record together, and she was like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "You still you sound even better than ever. You never sing, and you sound like this." I'm like, "Well, I never sing here," but she was like, "Oh my God!" Right. And I mean, she's not one to please me for whatever. She's like, "Dude, that's great." She was super surprised in a way that what a great accomplishment, So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Matt, you'd mentioned all the grunge stuff, and I'd made a post the other day about, at that moment, and I think I've got you maybe by about 3-4 years, it sounds like, because I was born in '73, I'm turning 50 this year,
right?
And was mentioning, like, at the time when, in 1991, when they made that, it was like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Chili Peppers and Metallica.
Oh, exactly.
They're all releasing this on the same day.
I know.
But, like, at that time, it wasn't like, holy crap, all of these great bands. You were just like, yeah, fuck, there's just a lot of really good music out right now. But now looking back, it was like some of the best music, best times.
Insane.
Ever.
Was it like 91, like Use Your Illusion, Black Album, Chili Peppers, 10,
yeah,
Nevermind,
yeah,
and Alice in Chains, and then Bad Motorfinger, all in the same month or something crazy like that? I mean, what?
Like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. I feel it's too bad in a way, because I don't think we're gonna live anything closer to that ever again.
No,
because times have changed so much, and sometimes I feel like, I work with a lot of younger people, and I don't want to feel like I'm a fucking dinosaur with them, because, I'm like, I'm older, obviously. And I'm like, do you know Soundgarden? And they're like, who? They don't. I mean, no clue. Wow. The only band they know, the young people, is Nirvana, because Nirvana is such a cult band, and Kurt Cobain and whatever. But you mentioned Pearl Jam or any of those bands, they just don't know. They're just like, clueless, like, what? I'm like, no, you don't know. It's a Black Hole Sun. They love Black Hole Sun, maybe. I'm like, that's why that thing is gone. And that's the thing with the reality of today, is just like with mobile too. I'm like, what rock music means now? I mean, for people, I don't know, young people, it's hip hop and pop in general. That's the culture now. And it's really like, who's a star? They can have a #1 hit, then you don't hear about them ever again. To build a career like you and I lived, it's like, see it, Bruce Springsteen or Tom Petty or Pearl Jam or even Coldplay. I mean, tell me who's the last band that really has a super nice career that came out in 2010? I don't know. Arctic Monkeys,
Right.
even though they came out earlier than that. I mean, even that, you mentioned Arctic Monkeys to people in general, they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like I didn't know that they had monkeys in the Arctic.
Exactly. There you have it.
I can't remember because you're a repeat offender. This is your second time on. I can't remember if I asked you about your first concert last time.
I don't remember either.
What was
First concert? It was AC/DC.
Whoa.
The Razor's Edge tour 1990 at the Montreal
Wow.
Forum. I was like third row. I got a connection who had tickets. It was, I mean, I'm a huge AC/DC fan, obviously, and that tour was great. You know, it was their big comebacks. It's a good record, Razor's Edge, and a bunch of friends. I think it was, I don't know, 15. You know, so I think I went to see other concerts. Yeah, I did, but it was not the same. It's really the first concert. Like my dad dropped me at the arena. I was like, all right, take care, guys, and then we went and smoked some weed, and we were like, oh my god, AC/DC. You know, that was amazing. I still remember.
Like, what still stands out from that night?
Was that?
What still stands out from that night?
Oh man, the opening. I think they start with Thunderstruck. I think, and seeing AC/DC, they were still young in a way, and they were like,
you're in 90. Yeah, dude, like that's 30
1990
years ago.
You know, it's like
30 years younger.
They were, and that tour, they were back. I mean, because they put a blow up video in '88. I think it didn't turn out too good for them, but 1990 Thunderstruck was a revelation for them, and they were back, and they were huge, and they were, that concert was so loud, and they played great, and you know, it's like seeing those guys, Angus Young, and it was amazing, you know.
So, dude, even like I saw them maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and like,
was it good?
Close to damn near 70 at that point. Like,
it's insane,
dude. Even then, man, they were so like bulletproof, like untouchable, man.
Untouchable, exactly. You got. It's too bad, Malcolm. You know, because I'm a huge fan of rhythm guitar players. You know, I love rhythm guitar players. Like my favorites are Malcolm Young, Easy Stradlin, Stone Gossard. I love the rhythm guys. You know how they handle the thing.
James
and Malcolm,
Metallica.
Oh yeah, man, come on, dude. It's like take him over Kirk Hammett any day. I mean, as far as his playing and the singing, and I'm like, wow.
I know, like both. Like, how do you fucking play like that?
I don't know.
Sing over top of your syncopated.
I don't know
what is going on.
It's like, what's his name from Ian from Billy Talent. He's probably one of the most impressive guy I saw singing and playing at the same time. And, you know, I met him a few times when we were living in Toronto. I was like, dude, how do you do that? You know, so good. And it's just like chord changes and whatever. It's just like, and he's a great singer. And what a dude, man. So I'm like, wow.
He's pretty amazing. Back to Malcolm Young, like what a
it's too bad, you know, because I'm a huge fan of them, and I was reading when he had like dementia, right? And they said that when they were on tour, he started forgetting songs. You think about the guy who wrote all of those tunes for the most part, right? And apparently, like he came backstage after some gigs, and he was like, I don't remember how to play, you know, Shoot the Thrill or, I mean, Power Age or whatever. And the guys were like, "What?" It's a sad thing, but they kept going with his nephew, right? Probably was it him when you saw them?
No, it was still Malcolm.
Malcolm, right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then of course, you know, Axl Rose taking over. Like, what did you think of that when that happened? I was like, oh, this is a disaster waiting to happen. And then it was completely the opposite. Like, it was so good that it blew.
I think he really he totally, man, he nailed it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Guns N' Roses. The first, not now, to be honest. The Chinese democracy stuff is not my thing, but I mean, think about Appetite Destruction. If you watch that gig live at the Ritz in '88, I think, dude, it's insane. That band was
one
amazing.
Of the best rock bands of all time.
Ever. I mean, of all time, especially on Appetite. When they were the five of them, like the original guys, when that show at the live at the Ritz, it's on YouTube in New York City. It's just like you see like what's the real power of that band. Well, Axl, I mean, on the AC/DC stuff, especially with the Bon Scott stuff, he did really well. I was surprised too. I was like, oh my god, I'm not sure. Then
Yeah.
he nailed it because Bon Scott, man, dude, it's hard to sing. That stuff is crazy.
Well, right, like in your
Oh
throat.
man,
It's
like
not what
whoa.
singers want. Like,
No, I wouldn't want that.
no, you don't want to sing out of your throat, but he
No, like
did,
it's like
right?
Cornell. It's like, dude, I don't know how you sing like him. I'm a singer, and I'm like, dude, it's just like beyond. I don't know how you can do that.
I know, right? Matt, outside of music, what are you binging lately? What are you binge watching when you get time?
Oh man, I do watch a lot of shit. I mean, I've been recently. I watched Copenhagen Cowboys.
Mm.
Oh, that's really good. Did you see that?
No, what's that?
Oh man, that's on Netflix. It's I think it's from the Netherlands. It's such a cool show. You gotta check this out. The Copenhagen Cowboys.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, sure, man. This is amazing. It's the same guy who did that movie called Drive. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. So it's the same kind of vibe. It's so good. This is amazing. And I've been watching White Lotus too. That's pretty good. Man, I just finished last week. It's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of
kids, by the way? You have kids?
Yeah, I have a daughter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is she?
11.
Okay, so what do you watch with her?
With her in Avatar.
Oh yeah, dude.
She's into that a lot. Yeah. And yeah, she's crazy about that. So we've been watching that. I tried to make her watch Star Wars. She didn't seem too impressed by, especially the original movies. I was like, I mean, look at those dudes. They're the real deal.
You're like, come on,
look at Han Solo.
Best, right?
I mean, look at him. I wanted to be him.
She's
not really. She was like, yeah, whatever. And,
she's right in the middle of my boys. I got a 10 and a 12-year-old.
Yeah, you got a 10 and a 12. Yeah,
both
on.
Boys. And yeah, man, sometimes the stuff we're watching with those kids is like, oh, kill me now. But like,
I know
overall, like not bad programming that can, appease the kids, but also kind of, get to that adult, humor,
right?
Or whatever, right?
Right. No, that's great. The thing is, like nowadays, what is different from when you grew up is like nowadays you got everything, right? You can watch anything, everything all the time. It's never ending, right?
Totally.
So I think there's so much stuff out there. It's the same with music and TikTok or Snapchat or whatever. There's so much going on, and you can tell like people's attention span is so short because
man.
That's the time we live in. And sometimes I'm pissed me off, and I'm like, oh man, come on, let's play. Just listen to record. And people just don't.
Because it was so different. Like when we were kids, it was like
exactly
go to the record store, sign the record, man, A and B sound,
right?
How it was,
man, dude.
Like, grab the record, go home, read the liner notes,
exactly.
see what it produced,
yeah.
Read
and listen to music
lyrics
without doing anything else, right? Listen to a record, because even me, I'll go to a friend's place and he's going to play me some tunes. This is great, but I got my phone, and sometimes I would look at my phone while I'm listening. Back then, it's just like you sit down, put the record on, and you talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's great. Let's put it on again, and then you just listen to the music, and like you said, you look at the liner notes, and that's how I got to learn about all those producers and lyrics, because I was so taken by record sleeves, and I was like, oh my god, record covers were like, oh man, a vinyl, so impressive.
Like pulling it out of the LP, like,
oh come on,
pulling
man,
it up, like being very careful, like, because mom's
exactly
gonna you otherwise, like,
that's it. And the guy used to babysit my brother and I. He would come to the house with his vinyls. He had Kiss vinyls and Ozzy and Sabbath, and would play it really loud in the house. We were like, yeah. And I would watch those things like, who are those people? So that I got really into the music for that too. The image, for me, it's always been important. Like, I love a band with has a cool look or a singer or whatever. And I was like, it's fucking Kiss. Let's like, whoa. And Ozzy and Sabbath, and so
all that stuff for sure. Yeah. Hey, were you a big comic book kid as a
Not much. No. I was more into more into, like, I really loved Star Wars when I was a kid, and Indiana Jones, but I was really into that stuff. I didn't play a lot of video games. I was really more into really listening to music a lot, to be honest, in my room, and drawing or listening to music. And I love music ever since I was really young. That was my thing. It was really like I skateboarding too. You know, obviously I still skateboard a bit, but I was really into
You really?
skateboarding. Oh yeah, yeah. Because the culture of skateboarding too. I was not super good in sports like basketball, whatever. I didn't really care. I was good in hockey, but skateboarding was a revelation. You know, when
well, it's a culture too, right? It's the hanging
yeah,
out
the
with your
culture too, like
buddies, smoking
exactly,
a
and also
joint,
the
like it's
exactly
part of
the
that,
way
right?
those dudes those videos back in the day, you go to skate shop and you see those guys skating, and you know I still wear like dog down shirts and stuff like that because I
Yeah.
love that color. It stayed, you know, it sticked. And I went to LA a couple weeks ago, and I went right where the downtown area was in Santa Monica, and I was like, man, it's just so cool, you know, that thing was, but it's gone now. See, I went to LA and I was in California for 7 days. I didn't see one skater, no skateboarders on the street. I haven't seen one. I was like, shit, man. It's like, where are the kids? You know, there's a big skate park, as you know, in Venice. There's all the kids there, but on the street, riding the street, I haven't seen one skateboarder. I was like, this used to be the place, you know.
This is
You
like Lords of
expect that.
Dogtown. Like, where the fuck is
Exactly.
everybody,
There
man?
was no, and then my buddy and I was like, we haven't seen any. I was hoping to see a bunch of kids like, no. It
Weird.
changed so much, man. I think it's the world we live in now. It's just the reality of like people having so much. You can stay home and do so much, and you don't have to go out and do anything. So I think it's part of it. Unfortunately, that's why music and everything's changed, and we have to embrace it because it's like we can't go back. We're never gonna go back. It's never gonna be like it how it used to be. And you can complain because I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh well, you know, music was better and the thing was
But it
better.
was
It's
though. We
just,
all know though. Like
of
everybody
course, it
fucking
was.
that grew up, it was all we
I
know.
mean,
It was
come on, you
better.
kidding?
Like,
Yeah, of
it
course.
was better. It was better.
Yeah,
What
totally.
What are you reading lately, man? Have you got any? Been asking some of the
Yeah,
musicians and stuff that are coming on the podcast, like to recommend
right.
autobiographies
I
specifically.
do read a lot of that. You know, I
Yeah,
read Mark Lanigan. I'm a huge Mark Lanigan fan. He passed away last year, I think, and I'm a
last
huge
year.
fan of his.
Yeah.
And is it Devil in a Coma? Because I read two of his books. It's so good. It's insane what he went through, that guy, and he's so underrated, right?
Oh
Lanigan
man, he's
was
like
Kurt Cobain's
drastically
best
underrated.
friend and
Yeah,
Lane Staley's best friend
yeah.
and confident, and then he went with Queens, and then he did the Goddard Twins with Greg Dooley, who's my ultimate, you know, idol, you know, as far as music goes. And his book is so good, man, and he's such a good writer. He's like a Leonard Cohen of his time, you know, with his tone and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's been through so much. I read his book, and I read Matt Sorum's book too.
Oh, dude,
It's
that's
really
on my
good.
list. I
Oh,
haven't
that's good,
got it
man.
yet, but
It's
I heard
super
it's
good. Oh, it's
amazing,
great.
man.
It's great. Him
Like,
too. I was reading those stories like, man, if you
well,
think you're rock and
his
roll, no,
life is
man.
insane,
Oh,
man. It's
it's
insane.
insane. He was a drug smuggler, and then
Yeah.
you know, his first gig when they played Rock in Rio in '91, right? It was his first gig with the band. So he rehearsed without Axl because Axl was never there during
Yeah.
rehearsals.
Yeah.
And they went to Brazil, and they landed in Brazil. And he was really to the cocaine and shit. And he's like, I landed in Brazil, and then those guards are all there with fucking machine guns, and then police and this and that. And he's like, do you need anything? He's like, yeah, like an ounce of cocaine or some crazy shit. He's like, yeah, sure. So he went to his hotel room. They brought him the cocaine, and he was on coke for 3 days straight with no sleep. And he went to play the show, right? And I'm like, I read his book. I feel I'm anxious just to. I'm like, how can you fuck? And then he shows up in Rock in Rio. There's like 100,000 people, and he never played a gig with the band with Axl. And he's like, dude, I haven't slept for 3 days because. And then I somebody calls my hotel room. You gotta go. He's like, oh my god, 3 days passed and I haven't slept, and you know I've been on coke bench for 3. I'm like, are you crazy? And then he plays. You can. And then I went and watched the gig again, and I'm like, you can tell the guy. He's like, he's a powerhouse. I'm like, dude, those guys are like It's insane. It's so fun to read, man. I was reading this. Oh my god, this is great.
Totally, man. They're like legendary, right? And they,
Oh
if
man,
you haven't read the Foo Fighter
I
Dave
did.
book,
Well, no, I
dude,
didn't read the storyteller Dave Grohl, but I read another book on the Foo Fighters, which was written by
blue
what's his
cover,
name?
got a red thing on it as well.
What's his name? The writer. He's a famous writer, especially
It's,
the hard rock stuff. What's his name? Axl
that book
mentioned
is
him
like
on the.
literally on my
Oh, check this out. It's good. What's his name?
beside my
Hold
bed
on.
on the bedside
What's
table.
his name? What's his name? Actual, I think mentioned him in Get in the Ring, right? When he blasts all those writers on that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mick Wall. Mick Wall.
That's right. Yeah.
Mick Wall. He wrote. I wrote the book. He wrote on Foo Fighters. It's pretty good.
It's
Great
very
band,
good.
man. Too.
Very
Man,
good. But of course, Dave's is better, right? And the fact that Dave like read the whole book as well, like if you wanted an audiobook style, like
totally. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that too. It's just like I was on vacation, Florida, and then California. Well, in Florida, I read the Matt Sorum in like 2 days. My wife was like, "Do you have dinner?" I'm like, "I'm busy, reading."
Yeah. That's about the only thing that I can really sit down and read for hours is like rock autobiography. Like if you've never read the Keith Richards' Life,
I did, of course. Yeah, I got it at home.
That's probably my favorite.
Oh, so good. One of my favorite too is Duff McKagan. His book it's so easy in Other Lies. It's called.
Oh, okay.
Dude. His story is insane.
Yeah.
Duff was his story too when he was a kid. He used to steal cars. He was like 12 years old, and he was part of all those like punk bands, in Seattle. Then he moved to LA and started with Guns, and then he was like a crazy drinker, like insane. He used to drink a gallon of vodka a day. Think on it. You remember him back in the day? He was wearing gloves because his hands were cracking. He was losing his hair. He said he didn't have a glass of water for 5 years. He was only drinking vodka, a gallon. And then his pancreas exploded. That's how, and then he went to his story is insane. Then, his rehab and how he got clean. It's impressive. If you think you can get clean, you read that book and you're like, dude, if Duff can do it, you can. I'm telling you. That's impressive crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Matt, a couple more questions. I'll respect your time here. We'll wrap it up.
No worries. Yeah.
I know that you're a sports fan.
Yeah. So your Canucks t-shirt, your hood, man, the best logo ever. Come on, are they gonna
pretty good? I like it now that the new one doesn't have the white in the in the middle. It's fucking.
We talked about this before, right? You remember? The Canucks logo. I mean, come on, dude. It's
the best logo for sure.
It's the best.
Are you keeping up with Bedard and like? What do you think the chances of like a team like I don't know the Habs maybe getting Bedard? Like, and
seriously,
how much would that fucking change that team, man?
Dude, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. For some reason, it's like it seems like fate is
it's gonna be Arizona or some bullshit,
Exactly. You just said it. I don't believe in it because it's like in 2023, the NHL. It's like the rest. It's just it's a business, and it's like. Obviously, it's better for the NHL for Bettman when it's in US. I mean, when was the last time Canada won the cup? Is it Montreal 93? I think it is.
It's been a while.
I think it's the Canadians 93. Canucks went to the
finals a couple times, but
94, right? And then what was
2010?
Right,
all those
exactly. But I mean, I was watching. I'm a huge Pavel Bure fan, and I was watching clips of him and Gino Ojic and the team you guys had back in '94. Such a good team,
killer team.
I mean, but no, I don't think we're gonna get Bedard. But I wish because he's.
Dude, he's like
next level. It's insane.
I mean, it takes more than one person to change a team, but that's a pretty good start. That's a pretty good start.
But you're right. I don't think we're gonna get him. The thing is so disappointing. I think you guys too have been going through a hard time with the Canucks. Recently, obviously, I know it's been
tough. It's been tough.
It's been tough. Same here in Montreal. The thing is, like it's either we're like in just not bad, and then we suck, and then I'm like. start over. The thing is, in Montreal, I don't think they've been game to do it, and the organization, they always been trying to just do the playoffs and just sell some tickets. Obviously, I understand too, it's a business, but I mean, I don't pay $300 to go watch a game. Either I have free tickets and I'll go, or I don't.
Yeah, man. Like I took my family to a Canucks game about a month.
How much was it? Like
it was like close to $800 when you factor in like parking and the fucking $15 beers. And
are you kidding?
Who the hell can afford that, man?
Who the hell can afford that? I think Toronto is even more expensive. You think on it. It's disappointing because I feel like it's the same with rock concerts now.
Yeah.
It's like the Depeche Mode coming to the city, and I'm like, I don't even check. People are like, "Hey, can you get?" Because I used to get tickets. Obviously, with mobile when we were happening, I had all these connections, and I don't even. I mean, go see the Depeche Mode or whoever is coming to town. The Cure coming, and it's got to be what, $600 a ticket or something like that.
Well, I noticed it's that like. I think what's happened is the bands realize like, well, we're selling these tickets at $150.
Anyways,
people are turning them around and selling them for $6, and they're fucking paying it. So like, why don't we just sell them for $6 to start? And why don't we make that money instead of somebody?
There you go.
Like,
because that whole scam with Ticketmaster and how they, I mean, I think we're doomed, and it's too bad for especially for rock fans. I think when I was 16 and I would go see AC/DC and then go see Pearl Jam or Soundgarden, I still have tickets. I went to see Hole in '94. It was like $16. I mean, of course, the kids have to go. Nowadays, you want to go see the Depeche Mode. There's not a chance, unless your dad is rich or something like that, that you can go. I mean, think on it. Like, pay like $600 for a rock concert. I'm like, no.
I like bands, but I don't like them that much.
I mean, same here. Especially if they suck that night, you go see them. They play 6 nights in a row and the singer can't sing. It's like,
yeah. Like, man. All right, last one. It's not really a question. It's more of a story. Have you got a near-death story where you're like, holy shit, I could have just died just now?
I have a few. There's one maybe I can't tell, but yeah, actually, I almost drowned when I was in Greece in 1996. I went to in Europe with 2 of my friends. We went backpacking, around Europe for 2 months. We went through, I think, 13 countries, and we went to Greece at some point. I was 20 years old, still young, and I'm not a super good swimmer, right? I'm okay. Yeah. But and then we started drinking in the afternoon on the beach, and and we were in Greece, and you know what it's like? You got the beach, and then you got like a line of rocks, like maybe like a few miles away from the beach, where for some reason there's a big chunk of rocks there where you can. Some people go there and hang out there, and it's like probably, I don't know, man. It's like how far it is, I can't remember, but it's still a bit of a swim. So my friends were like, let's go there, let's go, 7 rocks, some girls there, let's go. And I was like, I don't know if I can, and I was like, all right, then let's go. Then I started, and we had some wine in the afternoon. I was a bit blasted, whatever. So I started swimming, and halfway through, I'm like looking the other way or looking to the rocks. I'm like, man, fuck, should I go back? And then I started like feeling, and then I got hit by a wave, and then for the first time I felt like, dude, am I gonna drown? Because I started I couldn't go back anyways, either hit the beach or whatever. And then my buddy, I remember, he saw me. He was on the rocks. He was still far, and he was like, okay, man, I gotta go get him. So he got me, and I was actually drowning, and he got me back on the beach. And I remember I was like, shit. I was traumatized, I was like, dude, it's the first time I realized, like, man, you just gotta listen to you and trust your instinct. When you know you shouldn't do it, just don't. Because I was like, I'm gonna do it. I don't feel like I'm just gonna do it anyways. And then I remember that afternoon when he brought me back to the beach, I was traumatized, and I was like freaked out. And then I slept for like 10 hours, I think, on that beach. They were like doing a fire or whatever on the beach, and I was just passed out. I think my body reacted in a way like, if you almost die,
You're
you need
done.
a bit of a
Shut this
rest.
down for a sec here.
Exactly. And I still remember whenever I see him, he always brings it back. He's like, oh man, remember that time? I'm like, oh, because I think about it all the time. Whenever I go to the ocean now,
Yeah.
I'm like, I stay put, I just don't go too far. So
yeah, that's crazy. That actually reminds me of a story that I did when I was about
really
grade 11,
right,
in Summerland, and a bunch of us, same thing. We're kind of day drinking and smoking joints and shit. We're like,
yeah,
we should swim across Okanagan Lake.
right,
Like you look and it's like, well, it's not that far. It's fucking just over there. Like
right,
it's not that far. Like,
right.
so same thing. We start swimming, and I get a boat maybe halfway, a third of the way, halfway kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, fuck, man, I don't think I could make it. Like
That's the worst.
so then
Yeah.
I don't keep swimming. I'm like, turn around,
Oh,
and I just about drown, man.
oh, dude.
Like I fucking was like just barely making it back to the docks.
How did you make it? Did somebody help you? You made
No, I just
made
barely made it myself because they kept
right.
going. They fucking crossed they made it.
Sure,
They
yeah,
didn't cross
yeah,
the lake.
right.
But I was like, man, I don't think I can make it, guys. And I
It's
turned around.
crazy.
If I had it gone with them, fuck, I would have drowned for sure.
Oh man, that's crazy.
For
It's
sure.
insane.
Yeah, man.
And I meant to ask you, what's been going on with you? I mean, everything okay? I mean, for you
Yeah.
on your end, because the thing is, like, I remember, like, when what happened at CFOX. All you guys got. What happened? I mean, with you and Danger and the crew, and it
Yeah, well,
changed, obviously.
yeah, I
Like,
mean, I think
obviously,
it was just kind of like that. For me specific, I don't know about Danger and Neil and those guys, but like for me specifically, I just, I'd been there for so long, and I did
yeah.
the morning show and I did the afternoon show, and I
Okay.
made a lot of money.
Right.
Eventually, they were like, the bean counters out east were like, who's this employee number 1545675? Why is he making this
Making
much
too much
money
money for us, right?
when he should be making half that money? Like,
Oh,
what's
dude,
going on, right? So they fired me
really?
basically because I made
Just
too much
like
money.
that.
That's it.
Just like that.
Yeah.
What year was that?
14.
2014.
Yeah, in the
Right.
summer. Yeah, in the summer. And but like hindsight, dude, I'm fucking like, the podcast makes too much
Did you
money.
take it hard? I mean, was it? I mean,
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
took
you
it hard
did.
for
I
like,
mean,
yeah, the first day I was
fuck.
like shell shocked, right? Like, because
Of
I was,
course, dude.
I
Because you've been doing radio. Because I mean, that's what your
I've been there
career's
15 years, man.
15 years. It's the same with the band too. It's like, dude, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. So for the first couple of days, yeah, man, I was kicking the ground pretty hard.
Right, of
But
course.
now hindsight, like, dude, the podcast is hauling along. I'm an
That's great.
instructor
No,
at,
you've been doing a great job. I'm
at
super stoked that.
BCIT. Like, so yeah, for me, man, it's like, you're, yeah, I mean, I may be a little more bitter if I wasn't in the position I am right now, but like, man, I got no complaints, man.
That's
Like I get
great,
summers
man.
off, I hang with my kids, like,
That's cool. Because it's so
all that
hard. The
shit.
thing is, like, people have to realize that it's same for you as for a musician too. It's like, man, all my life, that was my life. It was me at Plan B was like, that's the Plan B. It's like
Plan B
I'm
for
going
me
for
was
it.
fucking stay in that building and go down to Rock 101 as soon as I was too old for CFOX. Like,
There you
that was
go.
my plan B. Like,
Right. And the thing is, like, me too. I was like, right. Listen, I knew my career might be really short because I know the industry. Obviously, I knew about it. But
yeah,
the thing was, like, I want to work maybe as A&R for a record company because I know I was really implicated in all the business decisions and I was like co-managing almost the band with the manager. So I've learned a lot, too. And I was like, then I'll find a job in the music industry. And then I realized like there's not so many good jobs in the music industry. And I felt like, man, I can't be near a stage unless I go and sing. Really, it kills me. So I'm like, I can't. I gotta walk away from it, And it's hard because think on it. It's like all your life you can't do what you've been doing for the last 20 years. Your
right.
dream is gone, and everything you've learned or everything you did, it's over. So it's the same for you guys. I thought about you guys because I remember like obviously things have changed so much for the musicians, but for radio stations too. It's sad because you guys used to have that cool thing going on, and it was great to come and see you. And now I don't know what it's like now because I haven't been to a radio station in a long time. But I feel it's so sad now
it's gonna
that
be different.
you don't have
Going
that thing anymore.
to radio stations now it's gonna be a little bit different.
It's so sad. It used to be such a cool hangout place. You know, you go do the interview and
Have a
we
couple
talk about
beers
music.
and shit.
Oh,
And
exactly. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
man.
It's just I
Yeah,
cherish those times. It was
I,
great, man.
I think that Danger and I may be like one of the last pioneers in that regard.
Oh,
Like,
you guys
I
were
don't
the
know that you're
best. I
going and
mean,
fucking cranking back a case of beer at a radio station and
oh
shit.
man,
Like,
you guys were the best. You talked to him too, the
oh yeah,
Danger.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
cool dude too. I mean, you guys were literally like we always loved going to see you guys. It was I told you, but I mean to say it again, it was great, man. You guys were the
Yeah.
best, man.
Yeah. Like when I got let go, I got offered a few jobs in radio, but
Yeah,
you know,
you
I
didn't
just
go
had
for
to
it,
like I was offered a job in Kamloops. I offered a
right?
job in Lethbridge. But you know,
Okay,
like I had all this time off and all this severance that I was like, well, I don't really need to take a job right now.
okay.
So and then eventually, like, you know, to fall into the podcast, it was just buddies who were like, dude, like, fucking start a podcast, man, make some money that way.
Yeah, because the thing is, you can't let that go. You've been doing this for so long. You're good at it. I mean, that's it's like me too. Like when people they were like, you can't stop. You know, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I can. I'm fed up. You know,
Yeah.
I hate music in a way anymore. I just don't hate music. I just hate the music industry.
Yeah.
It makes me feel sad. You know, I'm like, because I'm so used to like, hey, this is gonna happen, and you're like, oh, and then it's not. And then you show up, and I'm miserable around the house because it's just me and my career is shit. And then I was like, man, they don't have to go through that. You know, I had success and I had a career and it was great, but I had to turn it around and do something. See, now I do fire prevention, and for some reason I was on unemployment for a while, and I went to see somebody who helped me to get something new. I was like, man, I haven't been to school in 25 years. I'm like, what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I'm a rock and roll star, right? What does it mean? Nothing, you know. So and I went back to school, and then man, I studied and I got the job. And the thing is, now I go to primary schools with kids, and I wrote a song for the team of the that little toy we got, whatever. I just go show up, and I'm like, hey kids, what's going on? I invented stories. I put the video capsules, you know. So with the stuffed animals and shit like that, man. It's just, man, my boss was like crazy because he's like, could you build like a program? You know, I'm like, sure. Like, could you write a song? I'm like, yeah. So I wrote that tune, a kid's song, you know. And I wrote that tune, and they were like, oh my God, this is great. And then I go to schools and I'm like, kids, you know, fire prevention, this and that. And I do other stuff, but it's great. I'm happy. I go to work in the morning. I'm like,
right.
money's coming in. I'm happy. I get home. I got, I'm secured for life. Now I play music. I'm careful about music. You know, I'm super careful about not being fussed about something or pissed off or super happy because I know what it's like. I'm super careful. I'm like, this record might do nothing or it might do anything because people at work, they're like, well, what if it happens? Are you going to leave? I'm like, I don't think I'm going to leave this job for anything. Right.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, I was pretty excited when I was hearing you like, hey, we're back. We're making some music.
That's cool.
When
I can't wait for you to hear the whole thing.
Dude, I can't wait, man. Drop it to me if you want. Like,
yeah, the thing is, like, I'll ask my managers to make sure I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
But if he says sure, I'll send you a link so you can listen to the whole thing and hit me up. Let me know what you think because your opinion. I value your opinion. I think it's pretty strong. To be honest, I'm like, this is a cool record. I hope you're gonna like it. But I'll ask my manager if I can send you a link, and I'll send it across for sure.
Love to hear, dude. When is Roadmap to Redemption coming out?
It's coming out March 31st.
So soon.
Yeah. Right. The first song. I mean, first singles. We did a lyric video on YouTube. It's out now, actually.
Yes,
but that song, for some reason, we chose that single. It's more upbeat and really vibey, and it's uplifting and a little happy. I guess it's rare that we do shit like that. I do shit like that. It's for some reason. Let's go with that song, and then, but obviously there's still classic mobile intense rock and roll stuff on the record. I think we did good, man. I'm super proud of it. So.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear it, buddy. Your band's easy to find on Instagram and Twitter. Mobile band. It's pretty straightforward. I guess that's it, man. Thanks for jumping on and hanging
Always
out.
a pleasure, man. Always good
Good
to
to see
talk
you
to
when
you.
you're
Good to
when
see
you're in
you too.
Vancouver. Let's hook up,
Man. Anytime. Anyways, let's
Yeah.
let's be in touch, and I'll shoot you the link for the record for sure.
Okay, man. Right on. Well,
All right, Todd.
have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, you too, man.
Okay.
Take care, man. Thanks.
Okay, bye.